Without further ado, I'm going to bring him in. I'm bringing him in. From Birds Huddle, from NBC Sports Philadelphia. Let's welcome in Barrett Brooks to the Comcast Business Hotline. What's up, Barrett?
I appreciate you bringing me on, man. Really appreciate it. How's it going today?
I appreciate you coming on. Now, Barrett, big time's coming up for the Eagles. I know you guys don't get much time off. I know that.
Well, the NFL maximizes their potential at every point throughout the year. I mean, they try to take over every sport, man, even Christmas. And now they're going into the boys of summer's time. You know what I'm saying? Baseball. What is up with that, bro?
Chip, chop. You got to cut them down at some point, right?
There's no downtime in the NFL.
All right, Barrett, who would you keep defensively if you could, if you're the Eagles right now before free agency?
Well, I mean, of course I want Zach Bond, but I think he's outpriced himself for this Eagles team. See, he's different from like a guy like Mekhi Becton. You know, he was a first-round draft choice. He's made his money. He's made a little bit of money, so he could give the Eagles a hometown discount. This guy has been starving. I mean, literally starving. He only made like $3-point-something million. He's going to want the whole kit and caboodle. And can the Eagles afford him? They could if they didn't want to sign anybody else. He's not going to give him a hometown discount. So the likelihood of them signing him would be slim to none. And if he didn't sign him, I would say Mekhi would be a guy that they would, actually sign because he would give him a discount. But man, I mean, I would love to have Zach Bond in the Eagles uniform.
Barrett, if they don't sign Mekhi Becton, what were your impressions of Tyler Steen and his opportunities this year?
Tyler Steen, he did a great job. You can't him coming in those times when they needed him as an emergency type of guy. He did a great job. He can go in there and play tackle. He can play guard. He did really well at guard. So I'm saying, he could come in as a starter. Now, starting every single play, we'll see. But he has done, an admirable job going out there and being that guy that they need to come in and play. He lost his position to a guy that turned out to be pretty good at Mekhi Becton. Now, did Becton blow the world up on those plays where they saw him? He definitely did. But throughout the course of the game, he's a guy that played well enough to be a starter, and I don't think it'll cost the Eagles that much more to bring him in and make him a starter. Make him here as a starter, from this point on.
Barry, I'm going to say one name. I want yes, no, and tell me why. Myles Garrett.
Yes, as in he's probably the best defensive player in the NFL right now. No, because he's going to, want a new contract as soon as he gets here, and can they afford him? I mean, we do have the best GM in the league right now, Howie Roseman. He'll find a way, maybe it would make our defense the best defense again in the NFL if he stayed. I wouldn't worry about Zach Bond or anybody else if he stayed and became an Eagle. So we wouldn't have to sign anybody else, according to me. So we just use our draft picks from that point on in.
Barrett, one of the questions that we were kind of kicking around today is the Eagles do have about 4 positions that I think that you can kind of slot however you will about priority. Where do you believe that they are the thinnest, and how do you think they're going to approach it?
Defensive trenches, number one. They really, I don't know if they're going to sign either one, Williams or Sweat. Then I'll go O-line because, eventually Lane Johnson is going to retire. They need his heir apparent. They don't have him right now, which, kind of puts Mekhi Becton in a weird situation because if they sign him to a long-term deal, it can instantly bump him out to tackle, and then Tyler Steen will play guard if he chose to retire within next year or the year after that. Then I'd go linebacker after that because they, at this point, Dean is still hurt. I still think of him as being a starter for the Eagles. They do have Trot Jr., and they need to sign one of the two, either Olin Burks or Bond. And then after that, I would probably go safety. Just to bring in a little bit more depth at that position, a guy that can come in and play. Either safety or I would go third wide receiver.
All right, what happens with Jahan Dotson, and if they don't look to keep somebody like him, do they look slot maybe in the second or third round?
Well, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Top 3 rounds for sure. And they have a kid from Mizzou. Let me see. What's his name? Luther Burton. He's not a first rounder. He's a second rounder, second, third rounder. He's a guy that I would think about it. And, and this is what I'm thinking they might do. I'm thinking that the Eagles might trade back since pick number 32 was essentially a second-round pick anyways. Trade back, acquire another second-rounder. I think that'd be the best thing, and he might be someone that I would try to target. He's a great player as far as being that gadget guy, a great slot receiver, can run. Even though he went to Mizzou, one of the teams I hated. I'm from St. Louis. They didn't want to bring me in. That's terrible that you had your own talent in the backyard and you didn't bring me. I'm still mad because of that. End up going to Kansas State instead. But he's definitely a great player as far as being a guy to be a slot and move around guy.
How do you foresee Kevin Patullo transitioning into a more prominent role? And do you have any reservations about a first-time play caller?
Well, I mean, I do, because I'd be lying if I say that I thought he was just going to go in. Oh, he's going to be that guy. But he did see the game plan. He watched what Moore did. But at the end of the day, he's been here 4 years. He understands what, the head coach wants to do. Both he and Nick are very, very tight. So I could definitely see him doing that and coming in and basically run and pass. I think it will be a little more even, with him because he is, was like a passing game coordinator type of guy. It'll be more even. It won't be as strictly run as it was. And I'm not downplaying, anything that Saquon Barkley is in the offense. He'll still be that guy in the offense. But, man, can you imagine being a defensive coordinator saying, all right, I got to defend the entire field as opposed to just, putting the guys in the box and letting, those two on the outside make their money, So I would definitely say that, a little more even as far as the play calling, run the pass, instead of, being run pass, it'd be, kind of even how the play calling, kind of equaled out a little bit.
All right, I just got to ask you, what do you expect of this Eagles team next year? Like, what are you expecting? Are you expecting more of the same?
I'm expecting this team to come out and become even more dominant because it's going to be even the way the play calling is going to be, number one. Number two, another year on the Vic Fangio's defense where they're going to learn it. And when you learn it, you know how to play his defense. They just learned to play his defense halfway through the season. When you learn really what his defense is about, he's a guy that's going to teach his guys. They're going to become more dominant because now they know how to play it. So it's going to be like more of an instinct instead of them thinking through it. So it'll be faster, more explosive. And they're just going to have this attitude now. They saw how attitude just beat up on this Kansas City team. I see the same thing coming out next year with even more of an attitude because now it's like, all right, I know you can't beat me. I practiced against the best team in the NFL. Now I'm going to go out and show you. So it'll be easier on game day simply because they played against the best players in the NFL every day in practice. So I'm eventually saying that, yes.
All right, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, do you look at these two players as just Pro Bowlers year in, year out coming up?
I see them as cornerstone guys. Cornerstone guys that, it's nothing that we can say that they didn't already show everybody else. Everybody now sees how good they are. So the more notoriety they get, they're going to be Pro Bowlers just because the notoriety they got. They won their rookie year the Super Bowl. It's just them keeping up with, how Vic Fangio calls his defense, and they using these guys in the best way possible. You got a shutdown corner on one side, and then, eventually Cooper can go to the other side, or he can stay where he is in the slot. This is going to be two guys that are dominant. It's kind of going to be, one of the best defenses for us, passing. All right, pick your poison. You want to pick on the slot with one of the bigger slots that can run and play very athletic, or are you going to pick on the guy on the outside who's a shutdown corner? That's hard for offense to really, negotiate and navigate. So I can definitely see these guys being great for a long time.
Barrett, we appreciate your time. As usual, you on the huddle tonight, the Birds Huddle?
I'm definitely on the huddle. But, hey, I'll tell you this, Howie Roseman, go out and draft anybody from Ohio State. 3 guys, if they do stay at number 32, Jack Sawyer, edge rusher. They got Josh Simmons, an offensive tackle, and they got Donovan Jackson, an inside linebacker. Any of those 3 can come in and play right now.
I got a question. Is this the draft changing of the guard from Georgia to Ohio State now?
You win the national championship, Howie's going to get you.
Thanks, Barrett. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Barrett Brooks, NBC Sports Philadelphia on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hey, he tells it like it is. I saw you pump your fist a couple times, by the way.
Well, he said he confirmed a lot of the things that I was saying earlier in the
Feels
program.
good, doesn't it?
Well, it's validation. Yeah, just a couple football guys. Just a couple of football guys.
It's all right. You can tap yourself on the shoulder every now and again. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.